Coming up on Unwritten.
Everybody Miss Girl regardless of gender. Miss Girl, you know, slay.
Nah, don't call me that.
You Okay. It was my living nightmare. And my husband at the time came home, found me in my closet with a plastic bag wrapped around my head. Yeah. And I'm still here. Like, I almost died giving birth, you know? Like, I was really fighting for my life to stay alive. I was going to die on that hospital bed. But anyway. Oh my goodness. But Meyers. Yeah, as an S at the end. Yes, it is mandatory.
Reese Meyers. Alright, Reese.
What's up?
Yeah, take me back to your upbringing, and I'm not done.
Okay.
Take me back to your upbringing and tell me how that differs from the person you are today.
Oh gosh. Okay. Let's see if I can remember that far back first. Definitely very different than who I am today, I would say. I think when I was a kid, especially like elementary to middle school, I feel like I had such a big imagination. It was so vivid. And, you know, now I do really struggle with having dreams and aspirations and goals, you know, because like when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to be a scientist. Like now I kind of know what I want to study for college now. Like I do want to do environmental science, but I was like, when I was a kid, I'm like, I'm gonna have my own evil lair. Like I'm gonna be a mad scientist, you know, like.
You give me those vibes.
Really? Do I? That's funny. Wait, how do I give you those vibes?
Just from the way you said it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
From how you were like thinking about it.
Well, 9-year-old Reese, I am making your dreams come true still, okay? But yeah, like I used to be so happy-go-lucky. I was never a depressed kid. And now that's kind of all I am, is very hurt and depressed and angry. And I was just so genuinely happy as a kid. I mean, obviously when I was sad about something, you know, I would cry a lot. If I was angry, I was so angry. Like I was a very, very expressive child. But most of the time I was super creative. I was always wondering why things worked the way that they did. You know, when I can't remember how old I was, but I was pretty young. One year for Christmas, I got this set of textbooks, science textbooks. And like, I don't know, I think about that sometimes. I'm like, that's kind of odd for a kid to get textbooks for Christmas, but.
You got them for Christmas?
Yeah, because that's what I wanted. You know, I always was so interested in like space and like earth sciences too, like how are rocks formed? How does the weather happen? Why do hurricanes exist? Like, you know? And then as I got into high school, I took this class, and it was my favorite class ever, AP Environmental Science. And I was just so fascinated because I'm like, the way we live literally impacts the life around us, and the life around us impacts the way we live. And I remember my childhood bedroom we had whiteboards on the door, and I would go home and I would write a whole bunch of stuff about the environment or like the way we live, and I would like connect the dots, like, okay, why do we do this? Why do we live this way? Oh, but this is the reason. Why is how do I explain, like, why does this happen? Okay, this is the reason. Okay, but why does this happen? This is the reason. And it just keeps going and going and going.
Like the cycle of cause and effect.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And I would just do that forever as a high schooler. And I remember my mom came in one day and she looked at my whiteboard. She was like, "You good?" And I think that was probably the first signs that something wasn't really not right. Like, I wouldn't say it like that, but I thought differently than most kids my age. Like I struggled a lot with ADHD. My therapist to this day doesn't know if I actually have autism or not. But yeah, like I was just so in love with stuff like that. And then I thought to myself, this was back in 2016 when Trump first became president and, stuff like that. And so I got really interested in politics because I'm like, we can't do anything about the environment if the politics behind it doesn't back it up. And so I got super, super passionate about that. And so when I was ready to apply for college, I really wanted to study political science and study pre-law. I really wanted to pursue law. So yeah, I guess like how I was brought up as a kid, like having creative outlets, being interested in everything around me kind of led me to where I am today. But I'm so different than the kid I was, like.
What do you think changed you the most?
The army. Easy. The army. Oh, it's so cool. Oh, like I've had so much intensive therapy the past 2 years to where like I know why I am the way I am now.
So before we get into that, you were saying in 2016, you were still in high school?
Yeah, I think that was like my sophomore year of high school.
Okay, you were about to graduate, and then you decided did you go to college for it at all?
Yeah, so I was at Flagler College, which is like a small college in St. Augustine, small private school, beautiful campus. Yeah, I was there, and I had dreams for law. Like I was so passionate about law, and now I'm in the army. now I'm a grunt. How did that happen, you say? I don't know. No, actually, I do know. It's funny because when people ask me why I joined the army, I give them the same BS answer. Or especially when they ask me why I joined the infantry, let alone the army. I just say, oh, it was an impulsive decision. Or, oh, I don't know, I just didn't like school. No, like that's such a BS answer.
What's the real answer?
So there was a spring fling that the student government was planning, and I was a part of that. I was part of the student government, and we planned this spring fling. And I remember there was this one student who was kind of off, socially, and a lot of people made fun of him. A lot of people spread rumors about him, and like I'm the kind of person who gravitates towards those kind of people. I think after my experience with him, it kind of changed a little bit, not completely, but I have more discernment now. But I remember he was there at the spring fling, and I was like, hey, like my name is, Reese, and, I introduced myself, and I was like, hey, I have a class with you. I had English with him. And, we exchanged like words back and forth, whatever. And after the spring fling, I was talking to my group of friends, and we were like, oh, we're going to go to a house party after the spring fling, da-da-da. And I guess he overheard the conversation. He jumped in, and he was like, oh, can I come? And everybody was like, giving the side eye, and they didn't say no to him, but you could tell they wanted to. But I was all happy-go-lucky, and I was like, yeah, sure, come with us. Like, it would be so much fun. And so we go to this party, and I don't even remember drinking all that much, to be honest with you, but I blacked the heck out. And
you could have got roofied. That's the typical roofie story. It's like somebody's like,
yeah, now I know
one
now.
drink, but I blacked out, and it's like, yeah.
So I remember that night, one of my really good friends at the time couldn't find me. He was looking for me. And he sees me on this guy's shoulder being carried away, and automatically signs go off in my friend's brain, right? Like, oh, this is not good. This is not good. She would never let that happen, let alone be carried away from a party with somebody like that. Not like in a bad way, somebody like that, quote unquote, but
just a random person.
I mean, he wasn't really random. He was in my English class, but like we weren't friends. Like I was trying to be nice and friendly. I wouldn't go out of a party on his shoulder like that. Yeah. So yeah, that happened. So I was basically almost kidnapped. And
so what happened?
I reported it. That's basically kidnapping.
Did your friend stop you from?
Oh yeah, my friend stopped it. Thank God for my friend, because who knows what could have happened.
Yeah,
and a lot of scary stuff happens to people. So I'm lucky that I wasn't one of them. But I reported it. And this guy has a track record, the rumors that were spread about him, of him, sexually assaulting people, and so I was like, hey, I've heard rumors about this guy. I'm going to make a report. And the person who was in charge of like investigating cases like that, she was like, okay, I got you. But there was somebody higher than her, and he gets to decide like basically, punishments, or, if he gets kicked out of the college or anything. He didn't get kicked out. Nothing happened to him. But I reported it to the local police, and, they were ready to like press charges. And I had a whole team of attorneys, because there was this other professor on campus who was sexually assaulted by someone else that I can't remember if they worked on the campus or if they were a student, but she was like, hey, this is a culture at this campus, like if my attorneys could work with you to bring up this case, like, so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll meet up with them. I met up with them one time, and I was like, I don't have the mental capacity to deal with this. And I didn't go through with that case, and I kind of just let the charges drop. And
that's usually what happens.
Yeah.
Even with people that they got sexually assaulted and it happened, like something deep within them is like afraid to do it.
Yeah. And to this day, like I still feel very guilty, because I mean, like I try to be kind to myself about it, because I'm like, I did what I could at the time. I did try to use my voice. I did try to report. There's only so much that someone can do, but, yeah.
To me, I think, because I've had friends in the military that happened to them.
Oh yeah. Oh no, that happened to me in the military. And so why I bring that story up is because I just really wanted my power back. I wanted to feel strong again. And so when I joined the Army, I thought long and hard about it. about joining. Yeah. Because I was a legal assistant, full-time, going to school. And I was like, I'm not happy doing what I'm doing. I'm not happy. But I would always see videos of people having so much fun in the army, you know, like goofing off and just like being absolutely feral and being unhinged. Like I thought that was so fun. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to be that.
That's so
and like
familiar.
people like jumping out of airplanes and stuff. Like they looked so like high speed and cool. And I was like, I want to be that. You know, I want to be that so bad. But I was like, should I give up my comfortable life for that? I don't know. But I always thought to myself, like, I just really wanted to take my power back. I wanted to prove to the world how strong I can be. And now that my military career is over, I'm realizing I didn't have to prove anything to anybody. Not even to myself. Just making out of that situation alive is more than enough. I didn't have to join the army to take my power back. I really didn't have to do all that. But I thought long and hard about it, though. I like that thought never left my mind. You know, I always thought to myself, what if I did just do it just to do it? Why not? And I remember my boss, she talked to me about potentially joining. She was like, maybe you should join. You know, like, she could tell I didn't really love my job, and she liked me, you know. She was like, do it. I think you would have so much fun. That, and you would have benefits, all this. And I was like, you're laughing at the benefits. But I was like, I didn't even care about the benefits. I was like, I just want to do something that means something. I want to be a part of something bigger than myself. And one day I was headed to work. This is kind of why I joke about, I impulsively joined, because this day was when I was like, yep, screw it, I'm joining the army. I was on my way to work and my car broke down. And I was like, fuck. I was like, you know what, I'm tired. Like, I think that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. I was like, you know what, I'm joining the army. So I called my mom, because back then, like, this was like 2020. My car was only 2019 at the time, fairly new, right? So I'm like, why did it break down? But I called my mom. I was like, hey mom, one, can you help me, you know, get my car fixed and take it to a shop, because I'm in the middle of downtown Orlando. My car's broken down, help. And then number two, I was like, also, when you drop off my car, can you drop me off to a recruiter station? So, which is funny, because even before I got my job as a legal assistant during COVID 2020, I thought about joining the Air Force at first, actually.
That was my first choice.
Really?
Yeah, because my dad was he did 21 years and he retired from the Air Force. But every time I went to the recruiting office, they were closed. Like,
dang, they were closed.
They were like, every time.
Dang.
Yeah. And I went for like a week straight. So
I'm sorry, that shouldn't be so funny.
No, I specifically remember that because just from what my dad said, it was like the chillest type of
literally my dad, okay, so he was in the army for like 20 plus years, and he told me the same thing. He was like, do not join the army, join the Air Force. And I know why he said that. Now I know why he said that. But I tried, like, you know, I took the ASVAB, and then I was like picking out my job, and they were like, oh, the only job available was aerospace physiology. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll go with that. But it took them so long to even just like to even take me to MEPS. Like, it was like a year-long wait, and I was like, I'm not doing nothing for a year. Like, I want job stability now. I want to do something with my life now, because dude, during COVID, I was going crazy. Half of me was going crazy. Half of me was going crazy. Half of me loved it. Low key, because dude, I would go back and resort to like my childhood favorite games, like Pop Tropica. Have you ever played Pop Tropica? Or like Webkins? Oh wait, I forget. There's like a age difference. Never mind. But oh my God, you missed out on a great childhood. You should have been born the same year that I was. Sorry, I'm cooler than you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Nah, millennials are the best.
Okay, I consider myself a zillennial. Because I get like I remember, so my sister, she's like 7 years older than me. She's definitely a millennial. So I remember it's like fuzzy memories of like stuff that she definitely grew up with, but then there's definitely stuff that like Gen Z definitely grew up with. I have like a mix of like both worlds.
I think the biggest difference between millennials and the next generation
is that we're funnier. We're funnier than you.
No,
yes. Gen Z is more funny than millennial.
I think it's the internet. It's
100%.
Because I was born in '94. We didn't have.
Okay, my sister was 93.
Yeah, we didn't have a computer until like 2001, and then even before that, like video games or whatever, it was like Game Boys, and like the graphics were like crappy back then.
Yeah.
And then no cell phones, no.
Must have been
like,
nice.
There's.
You know what? Now that I really think about it, my parents would be like, "It's that damn phone. It's that damn phone." And I'm like, no. Now I'm starting to realize it is that damn phone. It is. It really is that damn phone.
That's why I wish I could like.
I wish I could have been a teenager back when there were no cell phones. Like go to concerts and not have to record anything, or just like enjoy the moment. You know what I mean?
Do that now.
I guess, but it's so because you don't leave your house without your phone. You know, because like, what if something happens?
You can live in the moment now.
I mean, well, yes, I do agree. I do agree.
Everything.
Maybe I should just get a flip phone. Maybe I should just resort. Maybe I should just resort to getting a flip phone.
Get a flip phone when you're trying to like really immerse yourself into something that you just want to enjoy.
Because I feel like because I have my phone where I could call 911 if something happens, right? Or like emergencies. But in that same device, I can use Snapchat, Instagram, and like record. Excuse me, everything. You know. So I'm like, it's all right there. Like everything that I'm addicted to and that I'm death scrolling on is all on there. So maybe, yeah, you know what? It really is that damn phone. I'm getting a flip phone.
I don't know if you ever been to like an event, like a huge event. I've seen Dave Chappelle live.
No way.
Before.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
You put your phones in a bag and like lock it up until you like they have the key.
That's
at
crazy.
The front. So
I mean, I can imagine why though. I understand why though. Because wasn't Adele low-key the same way? Like she was really big on not wanting people to like record her concerts. So if you saw like a video recording of like her concert live, it was like rare. It was like a gem. But yeah, like I understand
that way.
Yeah, because I was on TikTok. I was doom scrolling on TikTok, and there was this video of like a bunch of teenagers back in like what 2011 or 2010 at like a rave, and I think it was either David Guetta or like Calvin Harris, and they were having the time of their lives, man. I was like, I wish I could like be in that video. Like I don't know, like everything just seemed so fun.
Like FOMO.
Yeah.
It seems like you get FOMO.
Actually, before I joined the army, yes, very, very bad. But after I joined the army, I've come to realize I have so much time in my life to do things and see things. You know, like I'm not worried about missing out on things.
To other people.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's something else too. Before I joined the army, if I left my house, I would not be alone. You will not catch me at a restaurant by myself. You would not catch me at a movie theater by myself. You would not catch me just going out on a walk by myself. I had to have a friend. Running errands, I had to have a friend. But now...
You're one of those.
I used to be. Hey. I used to be one of those. But now... I find it so much more peaceful. Like a big part of me still wants like a community and like friendships and like hanging out with people. I love to hang out with people, but I find it more peaceful just like shopping by myself or like taking a hike by myself.
I think the difference there is when you do stuff by yourself, you get to know yourself better. Mm-hmm. So it's like you have time just to be with yourself and see how you are just by yourself.
Yeah, like that's something I've really thought about too recently. Um, just like letting my imagination just like kind of flow again. Pillows. Yeah, I think I'm gonna hold on to a pillow.
Like concerts and
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, like I love vibing by myself now. Dude, I love to go get coffee and walk by myself or like eat at restaurants by myself. Like I do not care about looking weird eating alone anymore. I don't care.
I don't care either.
Yeah. Because I used to especially when I was a brand new private in the army, I tried to get people to hang out with me so much. And they're all like, nah, I'm just gonna chill out in my barracks room and drink. And I'm like, dude, there's a whole world outside of those gates. Let's go explore. Hello? But I realized that was the culture of the army. But I wasn't like that though, for some reason. But that's when I started to realize I'm like, I can't wait for people to be wanting to do the things that I want to do. Like I can just, dude, I have free will. I can just do what I want. I can just, dude, if I want to go out on a walk, I can do that. I don't need to wait for somebody to do it with you. Yeah, like I don't know, I'm not like that anymore. I don't need a friend because I think that's something that the army really did teach me was I can do things by myself.
Have you ever been to a concert by yourself?
No, I haven't. Well, technically kind of. I went to a small concert, well, so my base has like a event for the 4th of July and they usually get like a somewhat of a big name artist to play. Do you know Gavin DeGraw? The I don't want to be anything other than what I've been lately. Yeah. Yeah, that guy. I love his songs. I love his music. But yeah, he played a concert and I took my son. So technically kind of by myself, yes, because he wasn't even 2 at the time. But technically, yeah, I was by myself. So I guess you could say I went to a concert by myself, but
it's weird at first, but then
honestly, I don't think it would be weird for me now. I really, honestly, like if I want to go to a concert by myself, I'll do it.
I like it because when you go to a concert by yourself, you're not really alone. You went to the concert,
yeah.
And everybody that went as well. You all share something in common.
Yeah, honestly, I think I don't know, it would be kind of easy to like kind of like talk to people next to you, like left and right of you, kind of, because like you guys already have something in common, which is the artist that you're seeing. And so I think it would be easy to like spark conversation and like potentially make new friends, you know?
Yeah, I vibe.
Unless they're like, oh well, okay, so I feel like it's either it's hit or miss when you try to make friends, right? I feel like us in the, you know, when you were in the Navy, it might have been easy for you to make friends, especially, you know?
Oh, it's or was it? Easier.
Oh, really? No? I feel like in the Army, easier. It's so, oh wait, oh, you said it is.
It is.
Oh yeah, because like you can go up to somebody and be like, hey man, what's up? My day fucking sucks. How about you? And they're like, oh yeah, same. My day fucking, it's terrible. And then you're like talking about how much you hate your unit and then you guys get along and then now you're best friends. No, literally, right? But as a normal human being, as a normal person, people don't do that. Like I remember before the Army.
Well, like people who work together do.
Well, yeah, kind of, but it still wasn't easy as like a paralegal or like a legal assistant. You know, trying to make friends. It wasn't that. Dude, I had no. Well, I was also the youngest person. The next youngest person after me was like in their 30s. You know, so like I didn't have friends that were coworkers.
Well, also in those types of like corporate-y environments, it's like
I feel like it's
show up and do your job.
Yeah, I feel like everything is very surface level.
Just do your
job.
Know, fucking no time for chit chat.
Mm-hmm. Unless you've been at that company for X amount of years and you have friends, you know. Yeah, yeah. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like. Before I joined the Army, when I was living in Orlando, I feel like it was so hard to just go up to anybody and just spark a conversation because they'll look at you crazy. They'll be like, why are you even looking at me or breathing next to me? Like, are you going to murder me? Are you going to kidnap me? Like, what? Like, you're creepy. You're weird. Like, even if you hold the door open for somebody, they'll look at you crazy, you know? Or like, if you just say, hi, good morning, we could tell you're not from here. We could tell you're not from the area if you say good morning to us or like hi, or if you smile or like wave.
Is that where you're from?
Orlando, yeah.
That's how people are?
Yeah, most of the time. Sometimes you'll get those nice people that are kind of normal and they'll talk, but for the most part, they will look at you crazy.
That just reminds me of the fast-paced world we live in.
Yeah.
People are just grinding.
But I've kind of noticed even in Texas, like it's still kind of like that. Like it's kind of hard. But I will say this, it's a lot easier to even at least spark a conversation in Texas than it is in Florida. Like a lot of people in Texas are very nice. They're a lot nicer. At least they'll open the door for you and keep it open for you and not slam it in your face. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of noticed that. Like, it's still hard. Like, I still wouldn't go up to someone randomly in a grocery store and be like, oh, hi, how are you? My day sucks. How about you? You know, I wouldn't do that. But at least you could say good morning to somebody here and they'll be like, oh, hi, good morning. You know?
It's just super hard to strike up conversations.
Yeah, it is. And I wish it wasn't like that. But, dude, while I was clearing the installation a few days ago, I had time to kill. So I went to Panera on base and got a bagel because I'm like, what else am I going to do for like an hour? So as I was waiting for my food, I was sparking up conversations with like random ass fucking soldiers, you know, like I'd never seen them a day in my life, but I'm like, bro, I can't wait to get the fuck out of here. And they're like, you know, other specialists. So I'm like, I can already relate to another E4 because we all fucking hate it here. So I'm like, man, I can't wait to get the fuck out. And they're like, oh yeah, me too. This shit fucking sucks. And you know, like we're just like conversating back and forth. And then we all exchange numbers, you know, and like, it's so easy. It's just so easy to make friends in the army.
So you said you joined right after COVID?
Yeah, 21.
Did they make you get vaccinated?
Yep. Yeah, especially during basic training, they were like, if you're not going to get the vaccine or if you haven't been vaccinated yet, you're getting kicked out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's this one guy in my unit, he actually got kicked out. He was prior service.
I have a friend that got kicked out.
Yeah, so he got kicked out, but then he came back in because it's not a requirement anymore.
Yeah, because
research
and...
Yeah. I mean, I'm the type of person that's like, I don't question. Well, okay, now I have a little bit more discernment. But back then, I didn't. Dude, while I was going through the process of like there's this like little, like, you know how when you like, quote unquote, in process somewhere, like it was basically in processing, but just for basic training, right? Like, you know, when you get all of those random shots and whatever.
Did you have to get the butt shot?
No, because I'm allergic. I'm allergic to penicillin, so I didn't have to do it.
Is that what it was?
I don't know. I don't know if it was penicillin, but I think if you had a penicillin allergy, there was like a certain percentage of a chance that like you could have an allergic reaction. Yeah. So I didn't have to get it. But no, like when we were going through an assembly line of I don't know how many shots. It was an assembly line. It was. But like, I didn't question it. I didn't give a shit about like what you were putting in my body. I was like, just do what you have to do and just let me do basic training. Like just get me out of here. Just one more step closer to doing basic training, you know?
It was different for me because that was like my last year in was like the COVID years. It was like my last 2 years.
How was that?
2021. It was really nice until they made us sign a page 13 to say it was mandatory to get the shot.
Oof.
And I got out before that was set in stone.
Oh, wow.
So
okay,
I'm still vaccine free.
You skated by.
I don't have the vaccine yet. So.
What's crazy is that like I didn't care. Like I was like, I'll get vaccinated. I don't care. I kind of thought of it as like the flu shot. Like I get the flu shot, I might as well just get the COVID. I really didn't care. I couldn't care less about. Maybe I should.
See, I care.
Maybe I should care, but
well,
I just
cared
don't.
Because I was just listening to too many podcasts that were saying against it, and like there's not enough research. There's everyone who's getting it.
See, that's the thing about
test subjects.
Yeah.
The first people that were getting it.
Yeah. See, that's the thing about me. I don't mind being a test subject. Maybe I should care. No, but like seriously, like
Are you donating your body for when you die to
I mean,
science?
you know what's funny? Before I checked myself into the mental hospital, it was while I was in the mental hospital. I hit up my leadership or my old platoon leader. I was like, dude, I'm ready to donate my brain to science. I literally said that to him. But yeah, no, like I'll fucking donate my organs and shit. And when I die, I don't give a fuck. But I feel like there's two different kinds of people. Like I was trying to educate myself on the COVID vaccine, you know, and stuff like that. But I also just like did not care because I knew nothing about nothing. Like I knew nothing.
Yeah, I get
no
both
matter
sides.
how much information I can try and get, I will still never know. I will still never truly know anything about anything. So that's why I didn't care, because I'm like, I have nothing to lose because I feel like, you know, I wasn't happy with my life. I wasn't happy with my job. So I was like, I have nothing to lose. I might as well get vaccinated. I don't care. You know, I didn't care because I didn't care. It was just because I had nothing to lose. And I don't know.
There's nothing wrong with that decision.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with like not wanting to get vaccinated or okay, this is where I have a problem, and this might be a hot take. There might be people coming for my throats for this. But I will say, vaccinate your kids.
Yeah.
I will say that. Vaccinate your kiddos. Yeah. But, and that's still your personal decision. You know, that's still your personal decision. I just feel very strongly about you should vaccinate your children. If you don't vaccinate your children, okay, still kind of low-key, very, very low-key I can't talk. Low-key, I'm still giving you the side eye, but do you, sis? If you want to get your children to make other people sick, then that's cool. Especially if you're planning on using childcare, like daycare, if you're sending your kids to daycare. Yeah, but
some of them do.
Especially
in schools too. Some schools require it as well.
Yeah.
I don't know about the COVID one.
But I know so many moms, especially in the Army, they don't want their children to be vaccinated. And they're still somehow using daycares and stuff. So I don't know if all of them are. I don't know. But
is it the COVID one, or just like the general?
Like in general, because they think vaccines cause autism and shit. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it doesn't take rocket science.
No, the ones that are like already set in stone, that are like basic vaccinations that everybody gets when they're kids.
Yeah, the basic ones. Those. No, I'm talking about the basic ones. They don't even want those for their children. And I'm like, why? You know, like I asked them why, and they like kind of freeze and they're like, oh, but it causes autism. I'm like, how? How do you know that? Are you a scientist? I'm not a scientist. Like, I'm not a doctor, you know, but it also doesn't take a doctor to be like, hey, vaccinate your kids. I don't know. Anyway, that was so off topic. I know shit about fuck, guys, okay? I don't know anything about anything. Don't come for my throats, okay? I have an opinion like a normal person. But I don't know. I still don't understand why that's like such a controversial thing to like vaccinate your kids.
Anything when there's like two sides, people get so.
And that's still the same. Like I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna murder you if you don't vaccinate your kids. I'm not like that. Like I'm not that passionate about the subject, you know. But I'm also like, girly, vaccinate your kids. But still, that's still your decision at the end of the day. Yeah. And I'll respect it. But I can't wrap my mind around that.
I come at it from a perspective of everybody is entitled to their own opinions. Yeah. And your opinions don't have to affect my opinions.
Right. And see, that's the thing about me is that like if it doesn't affect me and my bills being paid at the end of the day, I don't care. Like if you want to be transgender, go for it, Miss Girl or Miss Boy or Mr. Boy. Or, you know what I mean? Like I call everybody Miss Girl regardless of gender. Miss Girl, you know, slay.
Nah, don't call me that.
Okay. All right. No, but But no, like I don't know. Like I just call all my friends out like, hey girly, or hey bestie, hey queen.
Even that friends.
No, but seriously, like if it doesn't affect me, I don't care.
Yeah,
You know, like it's none of my business. If you get an abortion, not my business. If you're transgender, not my business. I don't know. That's just me. Like, I don't give a shit about fuck. I don't know shit about fuck. I don't give a shit about fuck. I mean, no. Like, there's things I care about. There are things I care about. I'm just joking.
But, so you had joined around the COVID years.
Yeah.
And now you're getting out.
Yeah.
So tell me about the time between those. What happened in those 4 years? 4.5?
Yeah, 4 years. There is so much. Oh my goodness. Oh man. So much has happened in 4 years where it feels like I've been in for 10. Like
The military will do that to
no,
you.
the lore is insane. I feel like I think the most trauma that's happened in my military career was definitely these past 2 years. But the first two, I mean, when I was a brand new private, you know, like I was so on top of the world, you know, because I just finished one of the hardest basic trainings that you could possibly go through as a female. Yeah, like OSIT, infantry, you know, finishing infantry school.
Is that hard? I don't know.
Yes and no.
Because the Navy is different.
Yeah. I mean, females were just recently allowed to be in the infantry back in 2016? Wasn't that long ago.
So the infantry are the people that
go big boom. Yeah, we go big boom. And we're in the front lines.
That's what they
supposed
say.
To be. Huh?
That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Go big boom.
Yeah. Big gun, go big boom.
Have you shot a 50 cal?
Oh yeah.
We had those on the side of the ship.
Oh hell yeah.
And they're fucking powerful as shit.
Yeah. But yeah, like it was hard. Yes and no. It was hard, but it wasn't hard, if that makes sense. You know? But I mean, yeah, but anyway, besides the point, you know, I was a brand new private. I just graduated basic training. You know, I was like so high on life. You know, I was so happy. I did what I dreamed of doing, which was, you know, getting my power back, essentially.
Because you felt like your power was lost from that moment in college?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know, I was just so happy. Like I had a stable job. You know, it was like a career that I wanted, that I could see myself being in for a long time. Because, you know, being in the legal field, I knew I didn't want to be in that field for the rest of my life or for 20 years or whatever, you know?
They're like the top 5 most stressful jobs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. I could definitely imagine, yeah.
And then military's up there, too.
It's so ironic,
Yeah,
right?
So you work like the most stressful jobs.
Yeah. But I had fun. It was so fun. I just remember having fun and just learning new things constantly. Like the environment of the Army back when I was a brand new private, like it was a true camaraderie. You know, it was a true brotherhood, you know, quote unquote, because I'm a girl, you know, I guess it's not really brotherhood. But for me, you know, like I really did experience that. Yeah. And so, and it was also more money than I was making as a legal assistant, you know. So I was just like, okay, what's next on my list? What's the next thing to accomplish? And I was on this, I guess you can call it a streak of like, okay, this is one milestone. Let's do the next milestone. Let's do the next milestone, next milestone, next milestone, you know? So for me, my next milestone would be get married, start a family. Because I already have a stable job, career. I'm happy. I was mentally stable, believe it or not.
I I think you're still mentally stable. You're just going through the processing phase right now.
Yeah, I don't know. Up for debate if I'm mentally stable now or not. But
You gotta believe it, man.
hey, I'll get there. I'll get there. I'm one step closer, which is getting out of the army on Monday. But anyway, slay. But anyway, but seriously, like I thought, okay, I was mentally stable. I felt like I was ready for a serious relationship. And oh my gosh, if you're from Florida, you know how bad the dating scene is, so when I first started dating this one guy that I met at my unit, he was like the first like real man, quote unquote, that I've ever dated, and so we were both like, oh, I moved your mic. I'm so sorry. But yeah, he was like, the first real man that I've ever had a romantic relationship with. And we were both like super happy. And so we got married, and then I found out I was pregnant. And
like things were moving fast.
Yeah, things were moving very fast because that's what I wanted. And don't get me wrong, when I first found out that I was pregnant, I like cried happy tears. Like I was so excited when I found out that I was pregnant. And I think about it now. Pregnancy wasn't at all what I expected it to be, let alone my birth experience, which was extremely traumatic. I didn't know, but I didn't know when I found out I was pregnant, right? Because everybody talks about it as this like walk in the park, rainbows and butterflies and unicorns everywhere, like it's the best thing in the world. And it wasn't. It was my living nightmare. Literally almost everybody makes it seem that way. Like they see, like, like obviously, of course, yes, like it's awesome to be able to carry life, and, creating a life is a blessing. That part's true. But man, like so many people make it look like it's so easy, or, people look so happy. Well, but that's also social media, like people only post.
You can't judge
their highlights.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. Like nobody talks about it. It's so taboo for people to admit when they're struggling, and especially mentally. But I will say I did struggle a lot more than the average person while I was pregnant, especially postpartum. But I think about it now, and I'm like, why did I feel the need to rush my life? Mm-hmm. Why did I have the need to hit all of these milestones back to back and back to back, And now I'm realizing it's because I was so insecure. The whole reason why I joined the army, I was insecure. I didn't do it because it was my dream job. Like, sure, it seemed cool. It looked fascinating. But I wasn't happy with my life. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. I felt empty. And so when I graduated basic training and I had that rush of happiness and joy, I was like, I want more of this. I want more. I want more. I want more. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. And I don't blame myself for that too much now, because I am still young, and 4 years wasn't that long ago, but I didn't know what I didn't know. I was young. Yeah. So I don't blame myself for wanting to be even happier and even happier and even happier. But for me, nothing was really enough to fill that void.
Where did the void come from?
I don't know. I mean, I'm still figuring that out in therapy. It might be everything develops in childhood, So maybe there's some childhood wounds, I mean, and I had a good childhood for the most part, But
I posted
I don't know.
something today because I went to work out and go for like a 30-minute walk before we walked before this podcast, because I find walking for me, like, that's a form of therapy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially when there's not 50 pounds of equipment on your back. I love to walk.
So I find walks very meditative personally, and I thought of a quote, and I was telling myself, stop trying to find peace, because peace is already a part of you.
Oh, I like that.
So, like, why are we always trying to like chase something
Right.
when everything you need
I like that.
is already with you?
And something that I realized as well, on top of that, and I think it goes hand in hand, you don't have to wait for things to be perfect in order to be happy. You don't have to wait to be happy, if that makes sense. Like, I can struggle with very severe chronic mental illnesses and be happy and to enjoy things, because for a long time throughout my Army career, I felt like I wasn't worthy or deserving to be happy because my life wasn't perfect yet. But now I'm realizing, like, I can go for a walk and enjoy it, even if my life looks like a mess right now. I can.
Well, it's never going to be perfect.
Well, no, exactly. That's the point. If I'm waiting for my life to be perfect in order to be happy, I will never be happy. And I'm just now realizing that. And I wish I realized that so much sooner.
You're on the hamster wheel of life.
Yep. Soon enough, I won't be, though. Soon enough, I'll chill the frick out once I get that DD-214 in my hands. 48 hours, and I'm free from the shackles. But yeah, like pregnancy, on top of Army medicine being absolute dog shit, mixed together, ruined my well-being. You know, because
Yeah, when you said, so tell me about that, because you were saying the first 2 years was pretty chill. You were just learning, trying to grow, trying to level up in the Army or whatever. And then the second 2 years, so what happened in between there that you felt like your mental health took a toll?
Man. So while I was pregnant, first trimester was, you know, kind of normal-ish, you know? Like, sure, you know, like rush of hormones and body changes and stuff like that. Like, I had a lot of like crying spells and stuff, which is like normal for a pregnancy, right? But it turned into not being normal when I was in my second trimester. And my husband at the time came home, found me in my closet with a plastic bag wrapped around my head. Yeah.
Why?
I was so suicidal for no reason, it seems. Like, when I was...
Pregnancy triggered that?
Huh?
You think pregnancy triggered?
I think it was a huge factor, but I also wasn't getting the help that I needed from the Army either on top of that. And I feel so guilty, even though I couldn't control it, because nobody really talks about how you can be extremely suicidal while you're pregnant. People talk about the crying spells and, you know, the emotional dysregulation, the hormones and stuff, but I don't know why. It just hit me like a freaking bus. And I feel like my husband at the time, I mean, I didn't understand the changes that I was going through either, but he didn't either. And I feel like, oh yeah, no, yeah. I feel like none of us were expecting that to happen to us, because we were such a happy couple at one point. And because he couldn't process the changes that I was going through, like I turned into a woman that he never met before. You know, I turned into somebody that was unrecognizable. And I feel so bad about it, but I couldn't control it. And I feel so bad for my ex-husband, because, you know, seeing your wife change like that had to have been hard. It had to have been hard for him. I mean, it was hard for me too, you know, like being frustrated at me being severely mentally ill. I get it. But if you're frustrated at me, you have to imagine how much I'm frustrated at myself too.
Right. And then,
you know,
I know
I didn't choose to be that way. I didn't want to be so suicidal all the time.
And then especially if the frustration can turn into toxicity.
And that's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened. And not to slander him at all whatsoever. Not to slander him at all whatsoever, but especially, we were dual military. And he was an infantryman too. Not only that, but he was a leader. So I feel like, you know, his mind kind of went to figuring things out, getting to the bottom of everything. And
I think that's just the normal response, honestly.
Yeah, and that's totally
men.
normal. But at the same time, I needed somebody who would be patient and gentle and soft and kind. He's tough, and that's not what I needed.
Right.
And that's not his fault.
Yeah.
It's not his fault. I honestly think it's nobody's fault. It's just, it just happened, you know? And I remember, I think it was sometime last year-ish, around the springtime, a little less than a year ago. We sat down at the kitchen table because we talked about getting divorced so many times. We tried leaving so many times and we didn't. But one day we really sat down at the kitchen table and we made a list on why our marriage went to dog shit. And we made a list of columns. Pregnancy, me, and him. Where did the problems come from? And all of like the pregnancy column was filled out.
See, but
and
then I get this feeling, it's like immediately when I hear that, it's like now it's like all the blame is on the pregnancy and potentially my own kid.
And so that's something that I really, really, really want to bring up too, is that like I don't regret having my son. It's not his fault. Nothing is his fault. It's just sometimes things just frickin' happen, man. Pregnancy is no joke. Creating a life costs your life, you know? And I'm still here. Like I almost died giving birth, you know? Like I was really fighting for my life to stay alive. And I'm here. So there's no reason to regret giving birth. There's no reason to regret having my son. Like, I just, I wish the circumstances were a little different. You know, I kind of wish that my pregnancy was a little bit more normal, you know, but there's a reason why things happen. I don't blame pregnancy for everything, because obviously that was a decision that both of us made together. We both wanted a family, you know. We just didn't know that that could happen. How could you plan for something that you don't know about? Like we planned for a pregnancy and being parents, you know, like we planned on a normal pregnancy. We had no idea that pregnancies could go so wrong. Especially postpartum. especially postpartum. Like, I did struggle with mental health a lot while I was pregnant, and for any of you watching this, if you're in the military and you're planning on expecting a baby, do not give birth at a hospital on base. I'm just going to let you know right now. But yeah, my birth experience, I think, definitely impacted how I am today. I don't blame pregnancy at all anymore. I used to. But now I'm really struggling to forgive the people who influenced my birth experience at the hospital that I gave birth at.
What happened there?
So, I was 2 weeks past my due date, and my due date's approaching. It's February 16th. But anyway, so I remember my very last OBGYN appointment, and they said that, I'm having no signs of labor at all whatsoever. And I remember them measuring him, with the ultrasound. And they were like, oh yeah, his head circumference is about 14 centimeters. Like, circumference. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, let me do the math real quick. And I'm not good at math, by the way. You can dilate up to 10 centimeters. Yeah. 10. This dude's head is 14 centimeters around. Not only rips, but like, hello? And so I remember after that appointment, I was like, can I schedule a C-section? They said no. Straight to my face. Nope. You are not getting a C-section. And I'm like,
why?
I don't know. You know what this lady, that lady that I don't remember her name for the life of me. And I wouldn't say her name right now, but for legal matters in the future, I wish I knew her name. And I don't even know if I want to pursue a legal matter about this anyway. But anyway, besides the point, she says to me, women have big babies all the time. You'll be fine. And I remember thinking to myself, especially as a PFC, right? A private first class, you're only an E3. If you get told no, it stays no. Like, you don't really advocate for yourself when you're that rank. You don't, you're taught to not really fight for yourself. So I was like, okay, if that is the way that it is, then it is the way that it is.
It's military culture.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm not getting a C-section. And I didn't know that it was my right to have a C-section. Yeah. When I started to really look into stuff after I had my baby and I was going through a lot of stuff, that's when I found out I had the right to a C-section. And I was like, it drove me insane. I was like, I had the right to a C-section this whole time. But anyway, I ended up having to have a C-section anyway. Yeah, the look on your face. Yeah, dude, I ended up having a C-section anyway because...
Did you try?
Yes.
So you were trying to...
Yes. I tried to push for, I don't know how long, but it was a long time.
And did you get the epidural?
Yes. What is funny about that is I had to have the epidural twice.
Is it wrong?
No, they put it in wrong.
Military doctors.
Dude, I'm telling you. Because, okay, so this is my birth story, right? From what I can remember. So I was 2 weeks past my due date. No signs of labor. No nothing. Water didn't break. Mucus plug was still there. No contractions. No nothing. Nothing. And so they were like, okay, we can induce you. And I was like, okay, cool. Sounds great. They called me. They were like, hey, we have a room ready for you. You can come in. I remember me and my husband at the time, we got Whataburger before we went in. And then we went to the hospital, checked myself in. And then that's when they gave me the Pitocin to kick off the labor. I remember my husband at the time, he got what is it? Charlie's, the cheesesteak place on base that DOD has a contract with for some reason. We got cheesesteaks. He brought cheesesteaks to the hospital. I remember eating that. And then I remember them giving me like pain medication on top of anti-nausea medication. And they said, this is going to give you a trip. They were like, this is kind of like, loopy meds. So at first I was having a grand old time. I was laughing at nothing. And my husband at the time was like, I think he went to go drop off our dog to like a doggy daycare. So he left. But that trip turned into a bad one. That trip turned so bad. I thought the world was ending. It was so bad. And I remember hitting the call button like so many times. And I had a panic attack, essentially. And I remember this OBGYN or this midwife, she like consoled me and stuff. And then after that, I kind of blacked out. Like I don't remember much after that. And I was in active labor for almost 4 days. I remember, I think day later on day number 1 or maybe day number 2, I can't remember. That's when I asked for the epidural because I was like, this is not ideal. This pain is not it. And so I remember them giving me the epidural, and then, the doctor would come in and check up on me, once in a while. And I told them, I was like, hey, I'm not really feeling any different, pain wise. And they're like, oh no, you're supposed to feel a little bit of pain. Like the epidural doesn't take it all away. And I'm like, no, like there's no difference. So they checked me out, and
where did it go? Where did the stuff that they inject go?
I don't know. They just put it in wrong. I don't know, but they just put it in wrong. They're like, okay, we're going to call them back. And like a different dude ended up redoing the epidural. My goodness. But after that, I really blacked out. Like I don't remember anything about anything. I don't remember having conversations with anybody. I don't remember even I don't even remember if I ate anything or if I slept. I don't remember anything about anything. I blacked out. I truly did black out. Like I felt like a science experiment waiting to die. That's how I felt. I felt so scared and lifeless. Like I felt, I just remember feeling like, get me out of this hellhole. Like this is a living hell. Why are they doing this to me? I really did feel like I was going to die on that hospital bed. And ever since then, it's nearly 2 years later. And anytime I try to lay down, I feel like I'm back in that hospital bed. And it's 2 years. It's been 2. It's been 2 years. And I'm still not over it at all. And I wish I could be. I really do. And I look at other people and like, social media is a curse. Like people only post their highlights, but even just seeing new moms, take their newborns with them out, I get so jealous because I'm like, they look so happy. I wish that could have been me. I get so jealous of other moms.
You don't have to be.
I know I shouldn't. But like I remember the first time I went out by myself with my son, it took a long time. Like if I had to go out, I would not go out alone. Like my husband at the time had to be there. I remember just not having the mental capacity for anything. I really, really felt like I was mentally declining at a rapid rate ever since I had my son. And I never could wrap my head around as to why.
You think it was because of like feeling like you were about to die? Or?
Yeah, like I get confused a lot, even still to this day. I feel very confused because I still feel in this, like, I still feel...
A dream state or something.
Yes, very hazy, like a daze. Like, I'm not supposed to be alive. Why am I alive? You know, I really had to detach myself while I was in labor. And I get why, because, you know, my brain couldn't handle what it was going through. But dude, like after the C-section, wait, hold on. Hold on. Back it up a little bit. So I remember, I don't know how or why, but I had my consciousness back. I don't know how to, but I remember feeling like I was ready to push, essentially, right? For some reason. I don't know why. Like, I don't know. I'm still confused about that to this day. But, you know, I told my husband at the time, I was like, go get the nurse. I think I'm ready. And so the nurse comes in. She's quote unquote trying to help me push.
Right? How do you do that? Right? How do you help somebody try to push?
Well, so she had to wait until she saw the contractions on the monitor to tell me to push right when there was a contraction happening. Yeah. So I tried for a really long time. And this nurse, she says to me, verbatim, "You're not trying hard enough. Let me know when you care about your son." And she walked out.
Bro, what command were you at? That sounds so condescending. Like,
when I tell you I lost my absolute shit when she said that, those words haunt me to this day. That is the only experience that I have from that. Like, that is the only memory I have from my birth experience, basically, was a terrible trip and being told I don't care about my son, basically go to hell. And then feeling like a social experiment dying. That's all I had to remember from giving birth, essentially. But now here I am alone with my ex-husband and his mom, trying to be like, what the fuck do we do now? Because there's no medical professional in the room with us. What are we doing now?
Where was the doctor at?
That beats the fuck out of me. I don't know. But eventually a doctor comes in just to say hi, like just to check up. And she's like, okay, what's going on? So she checks me out. And she's like, I can tell you're trying. We think that there is no physical possible way you're going to have this baby vaginally. She said, we need a C-section now before you lose oxygen completely. And I was like, oh, sick. Not really. But I was like terrified. I was like, oh my God. You know, I'm not making this up in my head. I genuinely felt like I was dying the past, I don't know how many days, 3, 4, almost 4. I honestly wonder if that doctor never came in to check up on me, what would have happened to me and my son, you know? And so I remember they were getting me ready for the C-section, and they took the epidural out, and oh my God, I could not sit still for the life, because you know how they have to put in the other thing to make your whole body numb, basically from your shoulders down, for when they do surgery on you. Do you know what I'm talking? I don't know what that stuff is. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what anything is called in the medical field. I apologize. But
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but basically between taking my epidural out and putting in something else to make me go numb.
It's like the type of stuff that like people could still be awake.
Yes, yeah, exactly
that. Guts out.
Before that though, I was like, Miss Girl, can you please take me the fuck out? Like, can you just knock me out while you do the surgery? And she was like, if I knock you out, your husband can't be in the same room as you. And I was like, I don't want him to miss out on the birth of my son. So I was like, okay, just keep me awake, whatever. I don't care. But between the epidural taken out and when I had that, whatever it was, to make me go numb, I could not sit still enough for them to actually make me go numb, because they had to wait for me to sit still enough so they could do it. The contractions were so unimaginably bad. Oh my God. And it was so bad. I remember crushing my husband's hand so bad that he was like, bro, you almost broke my hand. And that man has a very, very big pain tolerance. Like, he's strong and tough, you know, average infantry man, you know, like, yeah, basically, essentially, you know, he's a tough guy. And he even was like, bro, you almost broke my hand. That's how bad it was. But then I remember not knocking out, but blacking out again while they were cutting me open and shit. And then I heard my son cry eventually, and I was like, oh, he's here. And then I knocked out, you know. And then there's a picture of me holding my son.
You don't remember?
No, I don't fucking remember it. I don't remember holding my son for the first time. I don't remember. And like, apparently in the picture I'm like smiling, but I don't remember that picture being taken. Like, the lights are on, but no one's home.
I think it was all the drugs.
I don't know. I have no idea. But I can't help but to think, if they just let me have the C-section, you know, there was no reason to force someone to go through all of that. I remember, like, I can't help but to think, how different would I be right now? How different would my life look like right now if I could have just scheduled a C-section?
From the beginning, right? Yeah.
You know? You know, like, ever since then, it was such a struggle to even feel like a real person. Like, the world around me was real, you know? And I still finished my godforsaken military contract. Feeling this way. And I remember actively seeking help for so long. And they would just write it off as baby blues and just depression. But dude, I had really bad delusions to where I genuinely thought my son would grow up one day to kill me. Like him and my husband at the time, they're going to plan on killing me one day. I remember now that I know that it wasn't real, but I was hearing things and seeing things for so long, and I didn't know that it wasn't actual reality, if that makes sense. Because to me it was real. To me it was my reality. Like, you know, so when medical professionals are asking you, are you hearing things and seeing things that aren't there? No. Because they're there. To me, they're there. So, oh man, I can't believe I struggled with that for so long and made it this far without the proper treatment. You know?
So it like triggered like a PTSD, schizophrenia type of... I've seen videos online about people who have... I've heard of a story of somebody going through like almost exactly the same thing, like schizophrenic attacks after...
I'm sorry, I don't mean to giggle, but attacks.
I mean, that's,
And I'm sorry. Right, I know, but I just think that's what I'm gonna call them now. Attacks. The voices are attacking me.
I mean, just...
I'm sorry.
But yeah, I've seen videos of people, I forget the exact term for it, but it's a more extreme version where they don't have control at all. It's like their AI almost. Like there's old videos of I can't remember the term for it, but yeah, there's old videos of people who just, it's like their AI. They're like something else is controlling me. Like I see things, I hear things, I feel like I can't even move my own body.
Yep.
Type of thing.
Yeah. No, that's literally me. That was literally me. The whole reason why I couldn't take care of myself, I could not fucking move. And I still struggle with that. And I feel like my husband at the time was kind of annoyed at that, you know, obviously, because like, stop being lazy or like help me take care of you. Help me take care of the house. Help me take care of our son. I couldn't. And I still can't.
You can.
Now that I know what the frick is wrong with me now, I literally, dude, just recently, like, somebody pointed out postpartum psychosis to me. Yeah. And it went left untreated. You would think that trying to commit suicide a month right after you give birth, and then the next month after that, you would think something is deeply wrong. But yeah, just going through my military career like that was a living hell. And I feel like, you know, the guys in my unit probably talk a lot of shit about it because they're like, oh, this is why females shouldn't be in the infantry, da-da-da-da-da. But I would love to see one of those motherfuckers go through at least half of what I did and see if they made it as far as I did.
See, this is something I love to like talk about.
And I don't want them to go through what I did. I really don't. Yeah. I obviously would not wish this living hell on anybody, but for them to think that I'm weak, that I'm the weak link, no, the fuck I'm not.
You aren't. You are.
And I went through 2 years of thinking that I was.
Yeah, to me, I think that's one of the major issues with this societal thing, like where it's like men versus women.
Yeah.
online you see a lot, the feminists, the masculinities, whatever buzzwords they are. And I think we have to appreciate each other.
Dude. Oh, absolutely.
Women have their own fucking strengths that men will never understand, and then vice versa.
Yeah,
exactly what you went through, a man will never understand that, and you should never be called weak because you went through that. So
the thing is about that is that I don't think they really truly knew how bad. I think some of the guys in my unit, especially my closer friends, I told them, hey, I went through a traumatic birth. I don't think they connected the dots, though, as to how it affected my work ethic and stuff like that. It wasn't until just recently when I started to really explain to them how bad it truly was. And now they finally get it, kind of, I hope.
Yeah, because now you have time.
I was so scared to let them know how bad it was, though, because it was bad enough that I was like crying in formation. It was bad enough that like I couldn't even show up sometimes. So, you know, I just was so afraid of their reactions if I told them how truly terrible it was. Like I already felt like I didn't belong enough. And it's funny because, you know, one of the guys, and God bless his heart, he's amazing. He's an amazing soldier. But he told me, he was like, Meyers, I wish you told me how bad it was. I would have fought for you. And I'm like, what is an E3 supposed to do? You know, it's not your responsibility to take on. But at the same time, I was like, I didn't know what your reaction was going to be. I didn't know if you were going to go off and tell all the guys, oh, hey, Meyers is a fucking psychotic freak. You know? And would they have a party with that too? I don't know.
That's just toxic military
Oh,
culture.
dude. Oh, man. And that's the thing. That's the thing that, like, I struggle with, because when I was a brand new private, God, the culture was so great. To me, at least. It was so easy to be friends with everybody. You know, there was, like, that little group of people that were kind of toxic assholes, like, everywhere, you know? But it still didn't affect me. It still didn't affect me. We were all brothers. And then me included, LOL. Like, I'm not a man. I can't call myself a brother. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. But but now it's like you see somebody who's struggling very bad, they kick you while they're down, you know, like while you're down.
I don't know why people do that.
I don't know either. I really struggle. I try to find the answers. I try to think about it a lot. And I just can't come up with anything. Why are we kicking our own people down while they're already on the ground? Where's the brotherhood? Where is it? Where? We're supposed to destroy the enemy, not each other.
To me, when people do that, that's just a reflection of their own character, not yours.
I just wonder where it all went wrong. Because it used to not be like that. I mean, a part of me kind of thinks that, like, the good people left and went on to do better things because they realized how toxic the military was being, and then the bad ones stayed, you know?
I mean, yeah, you get the...
No, I'm not speaking on everybody. Not everybody who stays in the military is a bad person. Let me get that straight.
Yeah. But
however, if there's a culture, the people make the culture.
So what I seen was, in my experience in the Navy, people, you know, as you're climbing the ranks, I was an E5 before I got out.
Okay.
But as you're climbing the ranks, whatever, people gain this superiority complex where it's like,
oh yeah.
And in the military, it's a literal hierarchy where you must obey a lawful order from your superior, and it's literally in the UCMJ where you can get whatever judged. In the Navy they call it captain's mast, where you get judged from the superiors and you have to stand at attention for like a whole day, and they just chew your ass out for disobeying a lawful order. And every time people go to that thing, they come out fucking bawling their eyes out.
Really?
Like you'll see the toughest people, like you think they're fucking tough, and then like the most intimidating motherfuckers.
I didn't know that about the Navy.
Yeah, and if they fuck up, you disobey the lawful order. Whatever they DUI, that was common. People getting drunk, alcohol related issues. Yeah, they go to captain's mast, and they're literally, it's like in the middle of the they call it a P-way on the ship, passageway, and they just be standing there all day at attention. And then when it's their time to get fucking whatever the hell chewed out, people just say, they just like scream at you like it was boot camp again, by all the chiefs, all the E7 and aboves, and yeah, they just come out crying. And
wow,
that's something I noticed. It's common amongst all militaries. It's this, some people gain this superiority complex where they just automatically think they're better than you just because of their rank.
I highly agree, especially with the E4. Okay, maybe it's just infantry land and we don't have enough NCOs as is, but I never understood it. I never understood this superiority complex, especially with my rank as a specialist, as an E4. And you think you're better than everybody else? Sit your ass down. You are still lower enlisted. You are still a Joe. You are not better than these privates. You're not. You might know a little bit more than them, sure, but you're not better. And that does not give you the excuse to treat them like actual fucking dog shit. Because if you are out here telling these privates, these E2s and E3s, you're telling them they're pieces of shit, they're never gonna amount to anything, they're stupid, like, go kill yourself, basically, they're gonna believe that. If you're gonna tell someone they're dumb, they're gonna believe it and they're gonna act like it. So you can't be surprised that they're fucking up all the time.
Well, for me, I don't know if it was just my personality, but I never let that shit get to me.
But I see it get to them because they just start acting like they're stupid.
Right.
If you tell somebody something a million times, they're gonna fucking believe it.
Nah, to me, I always go to that old kid saying, I don't know if you remember it, the sticks and stones.
You may break your bones, but words will never hurt me, or whatever.
Yeah, take that to fucking the grave. I don't give a fuck what you say. Your words will never dent my fucking
I've noticed it, though. It still affects their work ethic because they don't give a fuck. Because the morale is so low. Even if they don't let the words really affect them personally, their work ethic is still garbage because they're being treated like garbage. Yeah. It's a cycle. So I'm like, I remember we were out in the middle of California in the desert getting ready to go out into the field and train. And we were fucking up pretty bad, like we were trying to train in the dark. We were trying to test out our night vision shit, our nods, They don't work for jack shit, by the way. But anyway.
Night vision?
Yeah. So you can like walk in the dark and shoot shit.
Does it work?
Barely. Not only that, but it didn't help that we were walking with a bunch of vehicles that shined their light so bright that you can't see shit anyway. Whatever. Anyway, besides the point. Huh?
It has to be, for night vision, it has to be like pitch black.
Yeah, it has to be dark as fuck. Yeah. But anyway, so we were fucking up. And the NCOs got super mad because why are we fucking up? So they got all of the specialists, the E4s, to round up all of the E2s and E3s. And they were like, you're going to talk to these privates and you're going to, show them who's boss around here. And I hated that. I was like, huh? I was like, no, you got me fucked up. Because I'm like, I remember being a brand new private. I remember fucking up. So I'm like, who am I to tell anybody? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I still see myself as them because I'm still a Joe. I'm still lower enlisted. So I'm not going to talk down on these privates. So I remember telling them, I was like, listen, this is not an easy job. Being out in this environment is not easy. If you're struggling because of your personal life or your well-being, if you're mentally not okay and it's affecting your work ethic, let me know. If there's nobody you feel like you can talk to, if you feel like nobody's approachable, come to me. I promise you, I will be the approachable one. I will be the emotional support specialist. I don't care, you know? And, you know, all of these other specialists were like, hey, you guys got to clean up your act and stop fucking up and, you know, whatever. I feel like I was the only person who really gave a fuck about these privates. You know?
I remember something similar when I was at my shore command, because I was working on brig duty. So we were all E5s in charge of people coming in and out of the brig and separating because of whatever military crime they committed. The majority of the time it was drugs, sexual assault. I think those were the two, and alcohol related was a big one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's like I seen that as well, because every day we had to, like, I was the person that was like in the front of the ranks or whatever, in front of like 20 or 30 people, and they just didn't give a fuck. And it's hard to motivate people that are already checked out.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So
if you're already checked out, forget about it.
So I didn't try to motivate them. I just was reminded of this quote that no matter what you do in life, that's pretty much a reflection of who you are.
Oh yeah.
So it's a reflection of your character. No matter where you show up, if you don't give a fuck here, are you gonna give a fuck when you get out?
And that's the thing with me, is that like I act like I don't give a fuck, but I really do.
Right.
You know, because I act like, I don't want to say I checked out as in not giving a fuck. I was in this constant state of like being so dissociated that was my way of being checked out. And nobody was helping me when I begged for help. So I stopped giving a fuck about everything.
And that explains it, and that explains the disassociation, because when you start to disassociate, it's usually because you didn't process it. You didn't process the emotions in a healthy way.
It sucks
that they were kind of just like locked away in the back of your mind, and it's like now I'm numb to it.
I had 2 years to process it, and I'm like, why couldn't I just make progress? What was wrong with me this entire time, you know? But nobody caught on to the fact that, hey, it could have been postpartum psychosis, or, you know, you can't heal in the same environment that broke you. So going on base and seeing that eyesore of a hospital every single mother frickin' day was torture. And I had to suppress that shit as best as I could, just so I could barely show up, if that. But yet I'm a shitbag soldier. I used to be such a good soldier. I used to be such a great soldier. But you fail me so many times. Of course I'm going to stop giving a fuck. Of course I'm going to encourage people to wake the fuck up and realize, hey, this organization doesn't care about you. Be a shitbag. Because you sold your soul to Uncle Sam. You gave your life to an entity that does not give a fuck about you. The least that you get to do is act the fuck out. Do whatever the fuck you want. You're a human being underneath that uniform. Believe it or not. I used to be so by the book and, oh, the rules are the rules for a reason. And, oh, you got to respect NCOs. Oh, you got to respect officers. Da, 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 da. Nope. If they don't give a fuck about you, why should you give a fuck about them? And I get it, be the bigger person. But I had to force myself to be the bigger person for 2 years straight. And I reached my breaking point officially. I reached my breaking point so bad. When...
How are you now?
Huh?
Or you can go ahead.
Oh, no, what were you about to say?
I was going to say, where are you, like, where's your headspace at now?
Still very much hazy. Like, I cried my eyes out almost every single day for the past 2 years, and now I have, like, really no tears left to cry. I'm just angry. But I'm hurt, though, because underneath hurt is, like, sadness and anger and frustration, you know? So I was crying for 2 years, got tired of that. So now I'm just angry. Now I just stopped giving a flying fuck. And it's scary because it feels better to be angry than it is to be sad. Because at least you're not hopeless and powerless. But it's still not a great feeling. I hate anger. I hate it so much, but like I pray every single day to God. I'm like, please heal my anger. I hate it, but it's valid. The anger is valid.
The way I look at it is anger is usually stems from a frustration that...
Oh, I'm frustrated already.
Frustration about something that you want to control. And you may or may not have the power to control it or not.
Well, I cannot control the military. I cannot control the military, so I'm frustrated about that.
Yeah, so there's only so much you could do with that anger. I just try not
That's
to
why I crashed out. Bro, I crashed out at my command the other day. I was like, you pieces of shit fucking suck. Huh?
What'd you do?
Dude, I crashed out. You want to know?
You got unhinged.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I used to be the sweet little shy soldier that would never dare. Yeah. And look where I am at now. I'm a completely different person than who I've been the past 2 years. When I checked out of the mental hospital recently.
Oh, that was recently.
Oh, yeah, it was last week.
Last week.
Yeah. That was my 4th time.
Damn, I didn't know.
Yeah, so they checked me out. And at first they were like, oh, hey, we're going to follow you home just to make sure you make it home safely. I'm like, okay, that's a little much, but hey, it's whatever. It's the military. If they're going to follow me home to make sure I don't get into a car accident or something, then fine, you know? So I drive home. Not even 5 minutes later, they knock on my door and they're like, hey, you got to go to the behavioral health clinic on base. And I was like, bro, I just got out of the mental hospital. Leave me alone. Give me 5 minutes to freaking breathe or something, you know? And they were like, yeah, it's coming higher from the commander apparently, so you got to go. And I was like, bruh. So I go to the behavioral health clinic on base, right? I do my appointment, and the provider that I was seeing, he just takes me out of the back door because it was closer to the parking lot. So I get into my car and I'm like, you know what? I deserve to get my nails done. So I went and got my nails done. Okay. Tell me why my new platoon leader, I miss my old platoon leader. I miss him so much. But anyway, I mean, I'm not even part of the unit anymore anyway, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, this new lieutenant, he's like, hey, so we didn't realize that you left the health clinic. And I was like, yeah, I went out the back. And he was like, oh, we were going to follow you home. I was like, brother, why? And so he was like, can you just send me your location? Like, are you anywhere near home right now? And I was like, I'm getting my nails done.
Oh, were you on like a suicide watch thing?
No, I wasn't even on a suicide watch. They were just being micromanaging fucking assholes. But I was like, okay, fine. I guess, I'll fucking give them my location. And I was joking around. I was like, do you guys want to help me pick out a nail color while you're at it or something? Do you want to get your nails done with me?
You're going to help me wipe my ass.
Yeah, after I get my nails done, do you want to follow me home and like help me with everything else? Do you want to do my dishes with me? You know what I mean? So I'm like, whatever. This is stupid, but whatever. Yeah. They pop in and I asked them, I'm like, hey, do you want to help me pick out a nail color? And they like laughed and like left. But I'm like, you couldn't make yourselves useful at that point, at least, if you're going to follow me everywhere. But on a real note, though, so they pop in and they're like, hey, so we're going to text you twice on Saturday and on Sunday because this was a Friday, right? They were like, we're going to text you twice in the afternoon. All you have to do is just say, hey, I'm up.
So you were on like a check-in type of deal?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, whatever. Saturday rolls by. They never texted me, never called me. So them following me around everywhere proves that they didn't follow me around just because they cared. They forgot about me. I could have died. I could have been dead in a ditch for all they fucking cared.
They forgot about you?
Yeah. They said they were going to text me twice that afternoon. Never did. So I'm wondering if they forgot about me or they remembered but just didn't care to. And I don't know which one's worse. But they texted me Sunday once towards I think it was like in the morning. Maybe they realized they forgot about me on Saturday or something. I don't know. But
or maybe they just, the way I see it is maybe they just thought you'd be fine without it.
Why didn't they think why I don't understand why they would have that logic either. Because if I was fine enough for them to not check up on me on Saturday, I could have been fine enough going to the nail salon. Oh my God. And you know what's funny? They were ordered to follow me around by someone higher than them, probably by my commander. Yeah. I hope my commander is watching this, by the way. But your henchmen suck. They couldn't even do their jobs. Like, bro, like if you cared about me that much, you didn't have to send your little henchmen, your little gremlins to follow me around everywhere. You know what you could have done? You could have picked up the phone and called me and asked me how I was doing. Like, are you that far removed from me just because of the rank on your chest?
Probably.
But I'm like, how does that make sense? You try to show that you care about somebody. You're going to have people follow me around everywhere? And I wonder if my commander was the same person who told them that they had to text me on Saturday. I kind of want to tell him like, oh, hey, by the way, your little henchman forgot to do what you told them to do.
Oh, this was last week.
Yeah. Yeah, this was last weekend. Yeah. So I'm like, you suck. Your henchmen suck. Oh, man.
Now you're over it.
Huh?
Now you're over it.
They don't care.
This chapter is closed.
It's about to be closed on Monday.
2 days.
Yeah. But I'm still angry. I'm so angry because they don't care about me. And that's the thing, too. So I'm sorry?
Like, should they care?
Yes. Yes, they should care about their fucking I'm sorry. Sound warning, by the way, whoever's wearing headphones. Yes, they should care. Yes, they should care. Oh my God. Yes. 100 million times, yes, they should care. You should have basic empathy. Yeah. Common human decency for your fucking soldiers. Yes, you should care. Holy shit.
The military culture doesn't promote that.
No. No, they don't.
At all, yeah.
No. But when that fucking bald ass motherfucker, when he finally called me Stupid commander.
Why is it always involved?
Oh, by the way, if my command is watching this, I call you dumb and dumber. And guess who's dumber? Guess who's the dumber one? My commander. At least the first sergeant, he's not that dumb. He's just a hard ass. But anyway. Oh my goodness. But yeah, no, that bald motherfucker finally called me personally after I crashed out at his stupid lieutenant. Because I was supposed to, so I went through the clearing process recently, right? I was stressed out of my mind because I didn't even get to start because I was in the mental hospital. So that only gave me a week to clear and get my DD-214. Yeah, because I thought my ETS date was the 7th. Apparently it's the 17th, but for this whole time, I thought my contract ended on the 7th, not the 17th. So I was freaking out. They told me while I was in the mental hospital that they would clear for me without me being there. They could clear me by proxy. Guess what happened? They never did. You know why? Because they were too busy. They were too busy for me all the time. My whole fucking contract, they were always too fucking busy for me. Always. Like, these motherfuckers never visited me in the mental hospital. They were probably too busy. But yet these motherfuckers wanted to visit me in jail. That's the only time you fucking visit me? But yet we're supposed to be a family. There's motherfuckers that I haven't reported out of the sake of being a family. There's shit that I'm taking to the grave with me because they're still family to me.
No, don't take it to the grave.
I gave it to God. Honestly, some of the shit that's happened to me, I gave it to God. I gave it to God.
I like that perspective better. Because taking it to the grave, man, so many people have these grave stories that to me I see as more weight on your shoulders that you don't need to carry your whole life. So
but
I like the way you said it.
I did, because I'm like, God, you handle it, because I can't. I don't have the mental capacity to handle it, number one. Number two, I don't know how to process it. I don't know how to feel about it.
What's to the
atheists
out there?
I don't know. But the past 4 years of my life, bro, was not real. It never happened. This is all just a fever dream. But seriously, like, so they were supposed to help me clear while I was in the mental hospital. They didn't. And so when I was starting to clear by myself, these motherfuckers wanted to be like, oh, hey. And mind you, this is one of the most miserable people that I've ever met, by the way. The most insufferable person I've ever met. He was the only one who wasn't tasked out. And they were like, oh, he's going to help you clear. Fuck no, he's not going to help me clear. He's not going to follow me everywhere and do nothing but to just like irritate me. I can clear by my fucking self. But when this lieutenant, he was like, oh, we just want to help you clear. I was like, help? You want to help me clear? You guys haven't helped with shit for the past 2 to 4 years. My whole career, you've never helped with anything. So no, you are not going to help me clear. I will clear by my motherfucking self. And this fucking idiot, he was like, oh, trying to treat you like an adult. Treat me like an adult. Following me everywhere is treating me like a fucking adult. Holding my hand while I clear by myself. Because what are you guys going to do helping me clear? What are you guys going to do?
For real. Besides babysit.
Yeah, exactly. You're a glorified babysitter, essentially. That is not treating me like a fucking adult. So I blocked him. And then that's when my commander called me. That's when my commander tried calling me. And I was like, oh, you want to call me, motherfucker? Declined.
Oh, shit.
And then after that, I think I didn't show up to formation yet again. I haven't been showing up to formation the past, I don't know how many weeks at that point. Because when my dad visited me right after I got bailed out of jail, he was taking care of me. And he was trying to make sure I woke up in time for formations and stuff. But sometimes, most of the time, I would just wake up and sob my eyes out. Like there was this one morning I sobbed in his lap just because of like the weight of everything that I was going through. You know, I didn't show up to formation. But this time I really didn't show up to formation just because I wanted to be a shitbag because they deserve it. But these motherfuckers showed up to my house. These motherfuckers showed up to my fucking apartment. So I opened the door. I'm like, hello, can I fucking help you? And they were like, yeah, so you didn't show up to formation. And I'm like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. You guys haven't done shit about it. Like, you know, when I first started missing out on formations, like they would try and like call me and like call my phone, call me and like text me. I never answered because fuck that. You guys don't give a fuck. But then they eventually gave up. You know, they stopped calling me. They stopped texting me. They never showed up to my apartment until recently. So I'm like, you guys have never showed up to my apartment before. Why are you guys showing up to my apartment now?
You could have been like AWOL or something. What the heck?
I mean, hey, whatever. You know, I should have went AWOL. I should have went AWOL a long time ago. But yeah, like this shit for brain sergeant was like, I've told you to show up to formation. I told you to give me an up. You haven't. And I'm like, yeah, I never do. Why do you motherfuckers care all of a sudden? And he was like, oh, I don't really care. It's just the commander that told us to come. And I'm like, okay, so if this motherfucker wants me to show up, oh, I'll show up. Especially, and like my old platoon leader, he texted me. He was like, hey, after I declined the phone call from my commander, right? My old platoon leader texted me and was like, hey, you know, the commander said nobody's going to bother you anymore. But the next morning, y'all show up to my apartment after you said nobody was going to bother. What?
They probably just wanted to
make sure that I was alive.
Quality of life check or whatever they call it.
No, but like, that's so funny that you guys get to pick and choose to care about if I'm alive or not. Because that Saturday, they didn't check to see if I was still alive. Why care now? You know what I mean? Yeah, so I was like, oh, this motherfucker really wants me to show up to formation. Bet. Fucking bet. I was like, this motherfucker wants to talk. I'll talk to him. So.
That's when you.
Oh, yeah, that's when I crashed out. That's when I crashed out.
Did you feel better?
A part of me, yes. A part of me, still not really, because, like, it's 2 years worth of trauma. It's 2 years worth of being treated like absolute dog shit. Just one little scream session is not gonna help me feel better. I would need to yell at those motherfuckers for a lifetime, for eternity. I hope when I pass away one day, I get to be a ghost so I can haunt them if I die before they do. Or if, you know, they do end up dying before I do. Like if I die, I want to haunt the unit. I am going to haunt staff duty or something. Like I'm just going to like throw papers everywhere and scare everyone. I'm not going to be an evil ghost. I'm just going to prank them, you know? But that's how strongly I feel about the Army now, which is crazy to think because when I was a brand new private, I loved the Army.
This is only a chapter.
I know, and I get it, but it's something that I used to be so proud of. I went from wanting to be a lifer and doing my full 20 to being like, I hope all of you motherfuckers suck on a dick and choke on it and die and rot.
I was like,
why am I like this?
My first year, I was like that until I went on deployment. I was like, yeah, because in the Navy, you're stuck on a ship.
Yeah.
in the middle of the vast blue sea.
See, this is why I did not even try to go to the Navy recruiter, because I knew I would not be happy being stuck on a boat for months at a time.
Yeah, I mean, you hit port. I think the maximum that we were allowed to physically be in the ocean was like 35 days. So like after 35 days, it's like a rule or something that you have to hit port. I think it might be longer than that. And then it was like, I think if it was longer than that and we had to stay out, they had like a beer day or some shit where it's like, fuck it, we were out here for 40 days. Fucking, they have like a beer storage where they just let you drink.
That's insane.
That's probably where the fucking drunk sailors comes from, because they had that was a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now that makes sense. I thought that was just a stereotype.
No, that's legit. That was like they called it beer day or something.
Beer day.
Like
that sounds like a great day.
Yeah, it's like once you pass like so many days just purely out to sea, they do that.
Wow.
So.
Dang.
Yeah.
And they wonder why we self-medicate with alcohol.
That's the only legal drug that.
Man.
Yeah, for real.
I used to be such a functioning alcoholic. Really, really bad. Like, I couldn't clean my apartment without being shit-faced. I didn't get shit-faced just to have fun. I got shit-faced to do things.
No, I actually am guilty of that as well sometimes.
And I realized what I was becoming. I was like, I do not want to be that stereotypical soldier, drunk mom, you know?
I would do it in a way where I'd be like getting like podcast work done while I'd be like sipping on some wine or something.
Oh, I wasn't sipping on wine. I was downing buzz balls just so I could act like a normal person. Like, I really did self-medicate with alcohol because nothing was working, because nobody was targeting the real issue that I was struggling with, you know? Yeah. I quite literally was drowning the voices, you know?
That shit only...
It takes you so far.
But it's like sweeping dirt under the rug, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's still there.
Yeah. And it just piles up so bad. But, I mean, proud to say that I'm not like that anymore. I can't say that I haven't had my moments. I got, drunk twice since really stopping drinking. Because I really tried stopping back in the fall.
It's rough.
So I relapsed twice, but I'm getting help for it though.
It's rough.
You know, because my friend called me out, and there was one person called me out because she saw how badly I was spiraling. Like, all of these, NCOs and the rest of the Joes were like, oh, hell yeah, Meyers, fuck yeah. But my one friend called me out, and she was like, hey, you're scaring me. And I was like, oh, I have a problem. So I tried stopping like cold turkey, but then that obviously didn't help. So I went to an AA meeting while I was in the mental hospital, and there was a super old guy. Like, he had to have been in his 80s or 90s, but he was like sharing his story about how, he struggled with addiction when he was really young. And I'm like, he really dedicated his life to this, to helping others. And I was like, I want to be able to help other women in my situation like that until my last dying breath. I want to encourage women in the military that there is space for them. Single mothers in the military, there is space for them. The military is not going to pave that way for you. You have to pave that way yourself, unfortunately. But, you know, I realized that's what my purpose was this whole time. You know, educate women on what a toxic marriage truly looks like. What pregnancy can really do to someone. Educate women on postpartum psychosis, what that actually looks like. You know, just that's all I want to do, is encourage women to find the strength to really get through a rough patch like that. Because sometimes it is inevitable, you know? Like, every woman's experience is going to be different. And, you know, not everybody experiences it. You know, some people have beautiful, wonderful, normal pregnancies and birth experiences. Some people are lucky enough to have a very healthy marriage. But the reality is that a lot of women in the military don't have that. And most of the time, they don't have the resources to get out of a marriage like that. You know, they don't have the resources to get the help that they need. Probably because their confidence has been depleted to reach out for more resources. So if I'm going to be anything, I want to be the person to build up a woman's self-confidence and let them know that they deserve the whole fucking world. They deserve it all. Because they went through something so unimaginably hard. And they're, you know, putting their lives on the line still. They're still serving this country. They deserve the help that they need. Anybody does, regardless if you serve our country or not. People deserve basic resources. They deserve to feel confident enough to leave a marriage that is not healthy. You know?
Yeah, I think often what happens is people feel stuck, right?
Yeah.
Even I felt stuck, and it's like...
Because, I mean, if that's your reality, that's your reality. And especially, I feel like people in our generation, you know, growing up as kids, I feel like marriages used to last a lot longer while we were kids because they stayed for the sake of us, right? Like my parents. Like, you know, it was a very unhealthy... Yeah.
But in reality, it's worse.
And I think a lot of us have that mindset where, oh, if our parents stayed for the sake of the children, maybe I need to as well. Yeah. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't have to be that way. Look, I get it. Like, marriages are going to obviously have their ups and downs and trials and tribulations and adversities, but it's to make you as a couple strong, not to be miserable for your entire lives, you know?
It's a team. It's you,
right.
You and...
But when it gets to the point, if it's something, I haven't really even truly processed this myself, but with my situation, I feel like my husband at the time really wanted me to get over what I was going through so we could be a happy, normal couple again. But I knew deep down that whatever I was dealing with would be chronic and it would last me my entire life. He would be absolutely fucking miserable if he stayed. I would be miserable if I stayed because, you know, he just didn't have what it takes to take care of someone who is mentally ill. He needs somebody who is already mentally stable. And I don't need anybody, but if I were to get married again, I would need somebody who is soft and gentle and who truly believes that mental illnesses are an actual thing you know, like I feel like with his upbringing, you know, like mental health, mental illnesses isn't really a thing.
Well,
But
a lot of my knowledge came from self-discovery. Like for me, I didn't have anything to do with mentality until I was like 25. It was after sea duty when I was in the Navy. Like you don't have time to do anything for yourself when you're in the Navy. When you're on sea duty, you're always training, you're always doing gun shoots or whatever, getting qualifications, trying to level up, whatever. And then when I went to shore duty, it was just like kind of a chiller environment. You actually have time to work on yourself. Like that was when I got like half of my degree just from I forget what's called, tuition assistance or something. I got like half my degree while I was still in, and then I really started meditating and like reading.
I really need to meditate.
And doing like what we did earlier. Like
like going on a walk.
Fucking walk, just fucking walking, and like really getting inside my head and just like, it's kind of funny. I always tell people like I enjoy spacing out because it gives me a chance. It gives me space inside my mental.
Yeah, to get to know yourself.
And clarity.
Yeah.
On what I want out of life. And
see, I want to space out like that. I don't want to space out to like
stare at the wall.
Yeah, no, like I think, dude, I remember this one memory I don't know why I remember this, but my old PL, my old platoon leader, oh my God. So I remember I was signing a form and I was like filling out the date and I was like, what day is it, sir? And he said it. And I was writing, I used the wall to write on the form, right? I stare. I stared at the piece of paper for like a good minute and just like did not write anything. And I remember on the corner of my eye, I saw him give me this weird look. He was like, huh? Like, what the fuck is wrong with this bitch? And then when I saw his facial expression change, that's when I snapped out of it. And I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, that's what snapped me out of it. But I mean, it was constantly like that about everything in my life. Like I was just checked out. I was zoning out all the time. That's
probably what...
Because I felt like the world around me was that unsafe.
Yeah. That's probably what explains like whatever happened with your mental.
Yeah. And it sucks. It sucks so bad. Because I want to be here. You know, like, I want to feel like this isn't a weird fever dream. I want to be able to bond with my son and feel like he's mine and believe it. Because I'll say, oh, my son this, my son that. Oh, I'm a mom. I don't feel like those words are real coming out of my mouth. You know? When I still had full custody of my son and I was taking care of him, I felt like a glorified babysitter, like he wasn't mine. Like he was just a child I was just watching over. I never felt like a mother. I never felt like he was mine. I really struggled. Oh, wait, that's such a cute bird.
It always comes around this time.
That's an interesting bird. That has a cool beak. Anyway, I'm sorry. That was a really cool bird. But no, seriously. And it's so weird to describe because like I obviously love him. He's this like, he's obviously a cute small human. Like who wouldn't love that? but I didn't love him because he's my son. I loved him, or I do love him, because he's a living human being who doesn't deserve love. But I didn't love him because he's my son, because it doesn't feel like he's my son. Like, the first 2 weeks he was born, I was so out of it that, like, my mother-in-law was the one who carried him and, you know, tried feeding him. If he was awake crying, she was the one who held him and tried to rock him back to sleep or feed him or whatever. I didn't get that time to really take care of him.
Did you do like formula?
Yeah, because I knew already that I wouldn't be able to breastfeed. I already knew I wouldn't be able to, so I didn't even try. But I remember one night I got so angry because biologically I missed him. Like, I remember just sobbing on the bed, being like, I miss my son. Even though he's in the living room, I miss him. And I remember one night he was awake crying, and his mother-in-law was the one rocking him, and I got so angry. And my husband at the time was like, are you jealous of my mom? And at the time I was like, no, I'm not jealous. But and now that I'm thinking about it, yes, the fuck I am. Hello? That is, it came out of me. Yes, I'm jealous. I never really truly properly learned how to change his diaper until he was about maybe a month old. Yeah. And it was like that for the next 2 years of my life. And it was so obvious and so apparent that I couldn't take care of myself. How was I expected to take care of someone else? You know? And it fucks with me. Because I want to be able to take care of him, but I can't take care of myself right now. I want to be a mom. And I miss the fuck out of my son. You know, I get scared and I get worried that he's going to call someone else his mom. And that he'll have to relearn that I'm his biological mom. I'm worried that whenever I do visit him, that he's not going to know who the fuck I am. And what if he just wants to go back to grandma? What if he just wants to go back to whoever is filling in my spot? What if he doesn't want to be there with me? I'm so scared.
He'll find you.
Like, I wonder what size clothes he wears. I wonder what he's into. I wonder what his favorite shows are now. I wonder what his favorite foods are. Is he saying more words? You know.
You don't see him often?
No. And I'm scared to ask. Like the paperwork and stuff for the divorce and everything. I can't look at that stuff by myself. I have to wait until I get somebody to just sit with me and look at it with me, because I will spiral. You know, and I feel bad for my soon-to-be ex-husband, because, you know, I've been pushing the court date and everything, but trying to look at that stuff by myself sent me into the mental hospital. You know? Oh, man. And it just sucks that I go to therapy twice a week. I already went through a partial hospitalization program to where it was basically a full-time job to go to therapy for 4 weeks. Why am I like this still? And people say it's so easy for people to be like, oh, you won't be like this for the rest of your life.
It's just you have PTSD, you know, that PTSD is like, they say it's exactly just like you broke your arm, you have a physical scar there for life. PTSD is the same exact way, but in your brain, where you go through something so traumatic that it's always going to be there.
I just wish that after I gave birth to my son that my real friends were there, and that the NCOs that truly gave a fuck about me were there, because they would have showed up. They would have showed up for me. But they weren't there, and I understand why. You know, it's the military, and you got to do your job, and you got to do what you got to do.
That's just the culture that you were surrounded by, you know?
God,
Not the world isn't like that. It was
so lonely. It was the most lonely feeling I've ever been through. Like, even now, like, I'm super lonely because, you know, I live by myself, and, you know, there's new people in the platoon. I don't have a lot of friends. All my friends basically left. It's lonely still.
And your family's in Florida.
Yeah. But nothing will ever top that feeling when I was freshly postpartum.
Well, you're here now.
A part of me really wishes I wasn't, because it's so miserable. It is a miserable feeling. So anybody who has ever wished for my downfall, bro, you got it. Like, you know, like, I'm a miserable person. I'm a hurt person. There's not a day that goes by where I feel like I'm just like, God, take me out of my misery. You know, but a part of me is grateful that I'm still here. Because, like I said, my purpose is to make sure that if somebody is going through what I went through, that they have me in their corner.
Well, I hope this reaches the people that it needs to.
I really do too. I really do too.
That's why I even started a podcast, because I want people that feel compelled to tell their story in a way that could inspire somebody to live, you know, to just follow life wherever it takes them.
You know, it's hard for me to believe people who tell me that I won't be like this forever. You know, people tell me that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I want to believe that is true. I want to see it for myself.
That saying, there's a different story to that saying. It's there's not a light at the end of the tunnel. You are the light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, wow. I like that.
Yeah. You are the light.
I like that a lot.
Me too.
Damn.
You good?
Yeah. Fuck.
You ready to play this game?
Sure.
And then just do my last questions. So
Sure.
you can start level 1.
Okay. What's a song you play by yourself but never with other people? Shoot. So I can't think of just one song, but there's this artist. His name is Fats Domino, and he's yeah, I knew you were gonna. He's an oldies artist. Like so, basically like 1950s classic rock or R&B. Anything from that time period. I love that kind of music, but like none of my friends do, or like they don't appreciate it the way I do, because my dad is an old man. He's very old. Dad, if you're watching this or if you're listening to this, I love you, but you're old. But young at heart. Yeah, no, but his music taste is immaculate. That's one thing about my dad. He raised me on such great music. And I remember we visited his hometown in New York. And he had this box of records from when he was a teenager. And it was of this artist. And he gave them to me. And I was like, this is such a cool thing. Like, what the heck? But yeah, like I love listening to oldies by myself, because everybody wants to listen to country or rap or rock or whatever, which is cool. I love all genres of music, don't get me wrong. But especially Fats Domino, that artist is such like a classic, like blues, like old school oldies. Like, I don't know. I love Fats Domino. Oh yeah. That's totally my vibe. Yeah. I love the Temptations. Yeah.
I'll play the game with you. I don't typically play the game.
Okay.
But a song that I play, I have a lot as well. It's probably like something like cringy. Like the first thing that comes to my mind is like rap songs.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, what kind of rap? Like, what rap songs are cringy?
I'll play one for you after this.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
Level 2. Why have you kept going? There's a few reasons, actually. The main one being, I want my son to witness his mother get better. I want my son to witness me heal from something that people would imagine I could never heal from completely. I want him to see his mother be an alchemist and make the impossible possible. I want my son to see that.
You will.
More than anything. I think that's what really keeps me going. Second reason I keep going is because you motherfuckers who think that women do not belong in the infantry, right? Yes, I'm talking to you. I refuse to die out of spite. Because if I die, they won. They win the argument. Women should not be in the infantry. Mothers should not be in the infantry because they can't fucking handle it. Well, guess what, you stupid motherfuckers? I handled it. It was quite a hell of a journey. But I want to be living proof that women, mothers, single mothers, belong. We fucking belong. No matter the circumstance. Yesterday, today, and forever, women belong in the infantry. And I will settle that debate. Why? Why do we belong? Who keeps going when their tank is on empty? When they're running on fumes? Who makes it happen? Women. Women give up at nothing. And do you want to say, oh, well, they can't do as many push-ups as I can, or, oh, how are they going to carry me out of the field? Trust me, put any woman in the battlefield, give them the adrenaline that they need, and they will save your ass. I promise you. They will do the impossible. I promise you.
And you got to remember, we all came out of a woman, right?
Right.
So.
Exactly. What's crazy?
I love my woman.
What's crazy? What's crazy is that I also struggled with asthma too, pretty bad. My old platoon sergeant, he called me out on it one day after a run. He was like, yeah, he was like, why do you suck? You know? And he was like, do you have asthma? Do you need an inhaler? And I was like, I refuse to get kicked out. I refuse to get med boarded. So no. If I suck, I suck, but I will stay. And they all probably think I'm a weak motherfucker just because I'm a weak motherfucker. Like, no. Like, I don't know. I will settle this debate once and for all. We give up at nothing. As an infantryman, you are not allowed to quit at anything. You are not allowed to give up at anything. Women are so not only strong and resilient, but they're smart. Their intuition, immaculate. You can't top it. They are problem solvers. Nothing goes the way that you plan in the infantry, you know? You got to be witty. You got to be smart to be an infantryman. And I get it. There's a stereotype that like infantrymen are dumb. But yeah, but we're smart. Women are extremely smart. Who is going to put their pride aside in the battlefield and save you, even if you are a raging asshole? Who's going to have that compassion and empathy for you? A woman. No matter how badly you treat her, she's going to save you in that battlefield. Your other quote unquote battle buddies left and right of you, if they hate you, they're going to leave you to die. A woman will not leave you to die. So yes, women do belong in the infantry yesterday, today, forever. And I will stay alive to prove that point.
Have you seen that movie, Hacksaw Ridge?
Yes, and I love that movie, actually. I really do like that movie.
Didn't he like get purple medals or all the medals?
Yeah, like he, you know, I mean, he's a combat medic, but dude, I love combat medics. Oh my gosh, they're great people. They're great people. But yeah, like he was like, just one more. I want to save one more. One more. That's the mentality. That is the mentality that is the mentality that women have. Who wouldn't want that in their unit? Who wouldn't want that in their platoon? Women are the most selfless creatures ever on this planet. So for you to not believe that women do believe, I can't talk. For you to not believe that women belong in the infantry, I'm sorry to say it, but your ego, your masculinity is weak. It's fragile. You are intimidated by us being in the same field as you. That's all that it is. Oh, but women bring the standard down. Shut up.
I've never met people. You were surrounded by people like that?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that firsthand.
Oh, I have.
It's probably bigger in the Army.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%.
The Navy isn't like that.
Yeah.
People were complaining that the Navy got soft because we were leaning more towards that type of culture.
Yeah, people are saying that the Army's getting soft too. But if me having basic compassion for people, if me having empathy for people makes me weak, so be it. I'm a weak ass motherfucker. You can call me all the names in the book. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think it takes. I always like rant on threads. That's where I met Mikey about vulnerability. Takes for a man to express true vulnerability. It takes courage because of the backlash that he'll get from other men.
Yeah.
In response to that, being seen as weak, and I see it as we're human.
Right.
We're not weak. It takes more strength to actually fucking open up and express yourself.
Yeah.
And still do the hard things that men do.
I promise you, you can be kind to people and still do your job. You can be kind to your brothers and sisters left and right of you and still destroy the enemy at the end of the day. I promise. That's our job. That is literally our basic job description.
Yeah, in the military.
Yeah.
Go boom boom.
Big gun, go boom. Big boom.
What was the question again? I haven't answered it.
Oh, why have you kept going?
Okay, for me, I think it just goes down to pure gratitude that like I get to wake up every day, and it's, call it a blessing, call it whatever. Some people don't get to wake up every day.
Right.
Some people are eating dirt and grass to fend for themselves in the world.
Grunts. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I try not. I use humor way too much. I'm sorry, but no, like I get it.
Sorry. Yeah. I'm just super fucking grateful that I'm at this spot that I get to do things that fulfill me.
Yeah.
And meet people who I could learn from and inspire me as well, because I'm always a student of life. Like that's my philosophy in life. Like I'm always willing to learn from somebody else.
Yeah.
No matter if I fucking blow up one day and get millions of subscribers.
I hope you do.
I'm never gonna think I know it all and have all my shit together.
Right.
Because everybody, no matter who you meet, somebody's going through some shit that they're not telling. And the fact that I just get to wake up every day and do this and talk to you and talk to other cool people, that's what keeps me going.
Hell yeah. I like that. Ready for the next question?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God. I hate this question. Is there closure you never got to have? That is a big fat yes. We just talked about this for how long? But I think two major things that I've failed to get closure from. Number one, my birth experience. I think the closest I've gotten to closure is just knowing that there's going to be certain things in life where you will just never get an answer. You just won't. And that's just how it is. I just wish, and I'm going to sound like a child for saying this, I just wish I could have at least gotten an apology from that nurse who walked out. Or I wish I could have gotten an apology from the midwife who said, I can't have a C-section. That I shouldn't have a C-section. That women have big babies all the time. I wish I could have gotten an apology from her. And I never will.
That's okay.
And it's hard because if they don't apologize, I somehow either A, have to forgive them, or B, just accept that it happened. And I can't do either because my head cannot wrap around somebody saying something like that and walking out. Like, sure, they might have had a bad day or a bad week or a bad life. Who knows? They could have been hurting and miserable, but that still, I still can't comprehend it. I don't know.
No, I get it. To me, closure is found within yourself, and it's found within yourself through forgiveness. Honestly, as hard as it may sound, but the way I see it, and something I contemplate a lot about life in general, is sometimes you'll never get the closure that you wanted to until you find that closure within yourself. And it's like, I'm always reminded of stories of just random accidents. Like, lo and behold, if my mom or my best friends or my family just croak one day in a tragic accident, I'll never ever get closure with them, or I'll never be able to tell them what I wanted to tell them before that happened, you know?
Yeah.
So you have to come to this point where the only thing you can do is practice forgiveness. Because when you don't forgive, you're physically holding on to this energy, and to me, that energy brought me down.
See, honestly, where I struggle with that is, you say to find it within yourself, right? Mm-hmm. I struggle to feel like a real human being. So it's like, I think for me, I beat myself up a lot for not being able to feel like a real human being. But now that I'm finally getting out of the army and I can start my healing process and actually heal in a place that allows healing, maybe I can start to feel like a normal human being again. Maybe I can feel like a real person again. Maybe I can feel like life is real again. And then from there, I can find it within myself to find closure. Yeah. And it's going to take a lot of time.
Yeah, healing isn't linear.
No, absolutely not. I remember this past Sunday, I went to church and I felt so great because the sermon just hit so hard. And I was like, I feel so happy. I'm a happy person. And then Monday, my unit triggered the living hell out of me. So I was like, fuck, now I'm like all bent out of shape. And it was just a constant reminder of what's wrong with me.
Well, no. Whenever that happens to me, it reminds me that this is a test. This is a test to practice the healing that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
To practice showing up as a better person than I was yesterday.
See, that's the thing. I could have ended my military career not crashing out on my command. I could have left gracefully, but no, fuck that. Yeah. I'll resort to being the worst person if that means I get to speak my mind and speak up for those who can't speak up for themselves. Right. Like, if I'm going to use my voice, I'm going to use my voice. But now I'll be the bigger person. now I'll be the better person. But no, like, I've been trying to be the bigger person for the past 2 years. I've been trying to be the better person for the past 2 years. These motherfuckers would not let me heal,
Yeah.
So
there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, whether you crashed out or not, I felt better.
It did. Because I feel like if I left not crashing out, I would have regretted it.
Well, there you go, yeah. There's your answer.
Yeah.
So you feel better.
Yeah.
You ready for my final questions?
Yeah. Shoot.
We're going on 3 hours.
3? Oh my god. I'm sorry, guys.
I could break it up into 2 parts if you want.
Oh yeah, it's gonna.
It doesn't matter. I usually just post the whole thing.
I would probably do it in 2 parts if I were you, because I don't think anybody's gonna sit through this for 3. Anyway.
Or just make like clips. But,
yeah.
Yeah. My first question is, what is your biggest regret?
Ooh. joining the army. No. My biggest regret is not crashing out sooner, not using my voice sooner. Feeling like I couldn't advocate for myself just because of the rank on my chest, especially medically. I regret not asking for help more. You know, just because somebody said no once doesn't mean it's no forever. I wish I knew that earlier. I wish I could have advocated for myself a lot more. I wish I had the confidence to do that. I didn't. I regret not knowing how much power I had within me. I mean, I guess better later than never, right? But I regret letting people walk all over me. How about you?
My biggest regret, it's always changing when somebody asks me. But I always say it's doing the things that I could have done sooner. I don't have like a specific one.
That's valid.
So it's just like that's what
You know,
comes to mind.
there's so many people that say, "Oh, I have no regrets." Like, okay, that's great, but like, I don't know. I just feel like we all have to regret at least one thing. Maybe not fully regret it 100%, but
Something that was like a big slap in the face, or like, fuck, like, I could have done that. Yeah, everybody has one.
that's fair.
Who or what has made the biggest impact in your life?
My mom. And it's funny saying that because I feel like I'm such a daddy's girl. Like, my dad is my best friend. But my mom went through something similar to me. I don't think she went through postpartum psychosis, but, you know, she told me over the phone she struggled with me and my sister feeling like we were her kid. You know, like she also struggled feeling like a mother. And she said to me that it wasn't up until we grew up that she felt like a mother. And I think her admitting that to me, it healed me a lot.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Yeah. Like, I saw my mom as like a superhero. Like, she made something out of nothing. She always made things happen. I saw her struggle a lot, but I never felt like I couldn't rely on her. And I think that's amazing. I think my mom did a very, very great job at raising me. And now that I can connect to her on that level, I don't know. I feel like there's hope for me.
It's your turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you have opportunity.
Yeah. I feel like she is living proof that healing exists.
And you will be too.
Yeah.
I believe it. What's one lesson that you had to learn the hard way?
Oh, take your time getting to know someone before you marry them. Definitely learned that the hard way. You know, just because things are great in the moment doesn't mean it's going to be like that forever, obviously. I feel like I didn't know what I didn't know about him. I didn't know that he wasn't going to be able to take care of me if I'm crying all the time. You know, I didn't know, like, because I never did cry before I got pregnant. Like, you know, like, yeah, I was different. I was a different person. Also, not only that, but you don't have to marry the first great person that you meet either. you know, like, I don't know.
That's why I'm like iffy about like dating.
Oh man, dude, dating in this journey. Man.
Because dating is like, to me, it's like a numbers game type of thing, where it's like you have to date at least a couple people to know what you don't like, you know. And it's like sometimes we go through marriages to know what we don't like, and it's
dude, all I want is somebody who can handle me being sad. And I mean a lot. You know, like, that's all I'm asking. I don't ask for much. You don't have to make $100,000 a year. You don't have to be taller than me. You can have a past. I don't care. You can have a whole criminal record. I don't care. If you can have empathy for me, if you can have compassion for me and help me take care of myself, we're solid.
That's actually hard to find, exactly like I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
About the men being seen as weak because of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta weed out the bad ones to get to the good ones sometimes.
Yeah. And you know, people kind of ask me sometimes like, oh, would you ever get married again? Or do you have trust issues? And surprisingly, I don't know. Like
I don't know.
No. Like, surprisingly, you would think that anybody who went through what I did would be like, oh, fuck that. I'm never trusting a man ever again. But for me, I know love exists. I know it's real. I know it's out there because, you know, this is my Christianity speaking, but Jesus loves people unconditionally. And, you know, I think if that existed and exists still, you know, like, Jesus lives within us. His breath is in my lungs. His breath is in a lot of people's lungs. You know, who's to say I can't find someone who will love me unconditionally? You know, and you know, like, love exists, like, not even just romantically, but like, you know, my friends back home love the fuck out of me. You know, they can't wait for me to come home. I love my dog. I love being outside. I love the sun. I love the water. You know, like, love exists. It's out there. So obviously I'm going to be a lot more careful, you know, but if I do remarry one day, like, yeah, I would love to get married to somebody. Like, I don't want to spend my life alone. You know, and like, I'm not in a rush to get married anytime soon. I'm not in a rush to like date anybody soon, you know, but I feel like there's so much that I want to share with someone, like a life partner, like a companion.
Yeah, it's better than
I just don't
trying to hook up with people.
I don't want to die alone. I think that's one of my biggest fears, is dying alone.
You're not alone in that fear.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, nobody wants to.
Dude, I want to grow old with someone and be like a crazy old person with someone. Like, I want to be batshit crazy, like, I don't know. Like, unhinged. I love unhinged old people. They're so funny. Yeah. Dude, you need to be in a mental... You don't need to be in a mental hospital, but dude, there's always that one funny senior in a mental... Dude, they're so funny. I love unhinged old people. Yeah. I want to be that with someone one day, you know?
I went on a cruise one time, and there was this whole group of like 60 plus singles club that were like all in a group together on the cruise together. And there was like 20 of them.
Oh, wow.
And they were like all unhinged. They were just like...
That's going to be me.
We're sick already.
If I'm unhinged like this already, God only knows how I'm going to be when I'm like 50, bro. 60. Like, dude, my mind, gone. It's going to be lost. And I'm going to have a grand old time. Oh man. Ah. Yeah.
Nah, I feel the same way. Like you can't rush good things.
No, and I wish I knew that. I was just in a rush to have my whole life together, you know? And I was so insecure. And now that I really think about it, that hole in my life was Jesus. Like, he makes me feel whole. That's what I was missing this entire time.
Really?
Yes. Jesus would never wish that I could be different. Jesus would never want me to be the same woman that I was before I was pregnant. You know, I think about it sometimes. I'm like, wow, I really wish I could be the same as I was before I was pregnant. But I was never supposed to be. I was never supposed to be back in that life of sin, you know? I'm happy that I'm not the same person as I was before I was pregnant. I am exactly who I am supposed to be right now.
And you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yep. I don't even know where I was going with that, but like, like that was the whole reason why I was in such of a rush.
Yeah, it reminded me of like what you were saying. You're trying to have your whole life together.
Yeah.
But your whole life hasn't even happened.
Yeah. I was so insecure.
Nobody's whole life ever happens. Even when you're 100.
I was so insecure.
It's like, how do you, like that, yeah, it just reminded me of that. It's like, how do you have your whole life figured out when your whole life hasn't even happened yet?
Right. Yeah.
And it never will, because every day is part of your life. Every day you get to live your whole life, however you want to see it.
Yeah.
That's the perspective that I see with that.
Yeah.
So my next one is, what would you do if you had all the time and money that you ever needed?
Give it all away to somebody who needs it more than I do. I've already been through living hell. I don't want money anymore. I want to give it to someone who needs it more. There's people who would kill for just time. Time is valuable. Time to spend with their family. Time to spend with just themselves. You know? I would give it to somebody who is in desperate need of it. I don't need it. I don't need money. You know, like I wasn't paid for about a month from the military. I got by. I don't need money. And all of my time was spent in a haze, feeling dissociated. I wasted 2 years of my life feeling like I'm not a real person. I got by. I made it. I can give that time to someone else.
I've never heard that before, but I really like it. No.
I don't
like
want it.
Most people just say travel, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I got travel. Something I say is just do this, but like we were talking about earlier, like just do this on a bigger scale.
If I really did have all of the money in the world, I would feel so guilty.
Right.
I would feel so guilty. Like I would just give it away to people who really, really, really need it, to communities who really, really need it.
That's how I see it as well. Like if I have, if I get paid or like if I get bonuses or whatever, it's like you have so much money that you're like, you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, instead of buying something that I want, or, you know, like people who get rich and they just have all these cars and all these big fancy house, it's like you could be changing other people's lives.
I mean, it would be cool to have a lot of money so I could start like a, I don't know, like my own nonprofit organization and provide homes for women to go to. Because a lot of times why women don't leave is because they have to start all over. They don't have the financial support, you know? Like, I want to help women leave their marriages. You know, if I could start a nonprofit and help them leave and really help them feel confident to live independently and to have the resources, have the correct mental health care. You know, if I could provide everything for them, I could. And I will. One day I will. I promise you.
I believe you. Reese, Meyers, thank you so much for inspiring people with your story. The last thing I'm going to ask you is, can you share the first thing that comes to your mind that you think would touch someone deeply if they're listening right now?
Oh gosh. There's so many things I could say, but I know shit about fuck, right? Like I don't know everything about everything. There's not one perfect thing that I could say, right? And I don't know. I feel like if you are deeply struggling with something, whether it be your mental health, whether it be your finances, whether it's you're unhappy with your job, you're unhappy with your marriage, you're unhappy with whatever it is, it sounds so cliche. And I hate this saying myself. I hate it myself, but it truly does get better. It truly does. Like, I'm still struggling to feel like I'm a real human being, right? But it's true. It is so very, very true. Your life will get better. It gets worse before it gets better, believe it or not. If your life has to go into complete shambles, let it. Because you have the power to rebuild it however you want. And you can rebuild your life to be better than the one that you started out with. Even if it was great and fantastic, even if your life was great and fantastic, if it goes to complete shambles, you can create an even better life. You really can. I want everybody to know that they have the power within themselves to create everything out of nothing. Everybody can make the impossible happen.
Thank you.
Yeah. No problem, man.
That's a wrap.
Hell yeah. Thank you for having me. Hell yeah, dude. That was awesome.